of all, Ben, very nice to meet you again.
Nice to see you too.
Around this time of year, I compile, because it's St. Patrick's week, I compile my list of the worst ever Irish accents. You know, Tom Cruise and the guys. And the best ever, Kate Blanchett and the guys.
Oh yeah.
I've immediately put yours into the top rank, because I'm very impressed with your accent. So how much work did you put into that particular accent? We're very particular over here about people doing Irish accents.
Yeah, well, I of course I wanted to get it as right as possible. I've done a lot of work in different accents, playing sort of Russian, American, Spanish, all sorts of weird and wonderful accents. I was just probably one of the easiest ones to come for me. I did about 2 hours with a dialect coach because that was all our budget could stretch to. But then I just decided just to stay in the accent for the whole time we were shooting, and I would, be hanging out with Robbie Sheehan every night. He's from Leash, so he's near enough.
Yeah.
And just trying to make us sound like brothers, really, I think was the main thing, and with that obviously came something a bit more authentic, hopefully. But I love the accent. I think just everything you say sounds funnier in a Dublin accent. So that's why I think all the stand-ups who are from this part of Ireland are just so popular.
I was talking to Robert there, he was saying when you did your first, almost not audition, but the almost like a showreel thing. You were in Australia.
Yeah.
He was over here, and there was a time delay. So how surreal was that?
Yeah, it was. I went into one of this. It felt like a kind of Japanese meeting room with this big virtual table with 12 seats at it and a big plasma screen at the end, and no one else in the room. And it was really weird. And then suddenly this link happened, and Robert Sheehan and the director were on the other end of it. And we were sitting there trying to do this scene and giving the punchlines of like, yeah, well, that's what I think. And you were looking for them there'd be a 2-second delay. It's a 2-second delay, very bad for comedy.
Yeah. It's all about timing.
But obviously, it's all about timing. Yeah, and so, but it obviously worked well enough.
Yeah. In playing a real character, although he's a real guy, I just met him. But of course, this is a sort of heightened dramatic for the narrative side of things.
Yeah.
So how much did you take on board? Was there pressure in playing somebody that you knew it's his story? Or did you say, well, actually, it's not really your story. I'm playing the script, and it's... and blame the director if it's actually different.
Well, yes, the second one, very much in that camp, but also, I think he'd already sort of characterised himself a bit in this book, which was called I Was Bono's Doppelganger, and then Bono said, call it Killing Bono, I wrote that t-shirt. So the title is now Bono's title himself. But, I felt like I was playing the voice that he wrote that book in rather than the man himself. And I've been nicking bits of Colin Farrell from In Bruges and little bits of With Nail and I, and I didn't really feel that pressure. Plus, Nick, the director, wouldn't let me meet Neil while we were shooting. He said, if you are as irritating as he is in real life, no one will watch the film. So I wasn't allowed to meet him.
And we're happy with that. We're happy to just go.
I wanted to meet him. I just wanted to see if there was stuff I could use from just meeting and studying him a bit. But actually, I think it was probably funnier that I just went for it, because if I'd met him, I think I would have felt a bit self-conscious about playing it very, very like him. I would have felt that pressure, whereas this way I was very free to make the dancing as crap as I wanted, to make him as ridiculous as possible. But, I was very conscious that I wanted to show that he had some talent, on whatever level, as a writer, as a front man, but also that he was just deep down actually quite good-natured, and he had a good heart, even though he just couldn't get out of his own way.
In terms of playing a front man, Ben, you've had some experience. If I mention High Rise, will a hook come out and bring me away, or are you happy to reminisce about your security?
You mentioned it, yeah. Bring them in.
Could you draw on those experiences?
Not really, because I've got experiences I can draw on. I did a lot of music when I was kind of growing up.
Bugsy Malone, for example.
Bugsy Malone, when I was 16, I played the drums in the West End. That was a brilliant time of my life, because I got to leave school early on a Wednesday. But the pop band is not very valuable as an experience to draw on, because it was so short. I was in it for about a week. And we did one performance, and so it's just because of YouTube and stuff like that it's sort of blown out of all earthly proportions. But I can understand the frustrations of not getting anywhere, especially with the acting stuff. When I first started, there was kind of 6 months of nothing. No auditions, no nothing. You just think, how do you get this kick started? So I can understand that kind of like sitting, that kind of, those waves of kind of odd depression and frustration and passion that are kind of all moulding into this ungodly creature which is Neil McCormick. So I think there are a lot of people that can sort of relate to that, because 90% of people who go for those kind of dreams, you know, you end up not quite getting there, and I think it's an important kind of story to tell. But actually, you know, you become a success in your own way, because Neil has now written a book which has been turned into a film, and a film about his life, even though he's not even famous. I mean, it's a fantastic story, and he's, you know, a wonderful kind of, you know, rock critic and journalist for a massive newspaper, and so he's a success. Just not in the way that he imagined.
Yeah. The exotic...
And not in the way that he probably thinks he deserves. That's not the point.
Still does, yeah. Not just us.
Yeah.
Filmmaking, you always say it's a very, very glamorous, exotic, you know, and you've been on the various Narnia scenes, sets, but how does it compare Belfast and a warehouse in January, in terms of the glamour of Hollywood?
Do you know what was the most frustrating thing when I saw the film? Is that there was a scene where I get attacked by a bouncer, and I'm climbing up a fence to wave at Bono, and he pulls me off the fence, and my t-shirt gets ripped open. So we were filming in January in Belfast at 1 o'clock in the morning on the streets, and everyone is in like thermals and like holding tea with big coats on, like in the crew, and I'm there in ripped jeans, ripped t-shirt, literally trying to get the lines out. And
pure method, obviously.
Then when I saw the film, they cut out that little moment where my t-shirt gets ripped, so it needn't have been ripped at all. So I'm standing there shivering for absolutely no reason. But if you're watching the film and wondering why my t-shirt is ripped, it's the director's fault. It didn't need to be.
We'll see it on DVD, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
As an extra.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, as a final question, how much money are you going to pay the director not to put any high-rise clips on the DVD?
Oh, I'll never get the rights. Exclusive YouTube rights. He can put it on if he wants. I think it's funny. I wouldn't be sitting here probably if I hadn't done that. Do you know what I mean? Everything leads to the next phase of your life. But it'll be interesting because we performed all the songs in the film and a few others that aren't in the film. So we probably did about 12 songs. You know, as a band.
So there's an album there.
There's an album. It's coming out next week. Yeah. It's great because we remastered and did all glossy versions for the album, which is really fun. But you know, there'll be hours of footage of us performing the songs, because we did every one all the way through. And obviously, if you did that, you would be no time left for story. Yeah. So it's just little snippets of the songs in the movie. But yeah, it'll be a good old set of extras, I reckon.
Okay, well done. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Really nice to meet you.
And working on top of the pops with the new band.
Yeah, absolutely.